Right, so I am down on the Elsies River here in Glencairn because behind me is an old mill that dates back to around 1820, so it's 200 years ago. What happened is a man by the name of Johannes Brand built this, and he would have used this mill to, perhaps grind, wheat into flour and so forth to sell in the surrounding areas, Simonstown, Glencairn, Cape Town. His father, Christoffel Brand, from what we know, he was the first person to sort of set up base here 1790, which was the time when the Dutch East India Company was coming to an end, their governance here in the Cape. And he was here, his son took over, and he lived here and milled here. This was known as the Welcome Cottage Farm, and the farmhouse is just up the hill, still there today. Okay, right, so I'm now inside the actual mill and the river is behind me, the Elsies River. So fantastic to think that these walls have stood here for 200 years. So Johannes Brand most likely would have been Dutch. In 1828, a man by the name of Thomas Wills took over. He was a merchant. Wills would most likely have been English. He would have been an Anglo. Remember that the English started to govern here in 1795, although there was a brief changeover back to the Dutch in the early 1800s, but then back to the English. So then Thomas Wills had this from 1828 until 1842, when it's shut down from being a mill, and then it was handed over to someone else. It's really is fantastic to be here and to think the history of this place, the mighty Elsies River behind me. They would have been turning the mill wheel as it grounded down grains. Right, so the story of the Glencairn Mill doesn't end with Thomas Wills. In 1842, a man by the name of Francis Pinney bought the land, and he then used it to grow vegetables and farm dairy. So the mill would have stopped working or stopped being used in 1842, and then in 1860 David de Villiers bought it, and certainly by that point it was perhaps derelict in some way, certainly not as derelict as it is now. So there we go, the story of the Glencairn Mill. Hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. The history of Southern Africa, history of tribes and families, cooperation and conflict, and this is a bit of history of the South Peninsula region of the Cape. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.